Earth refused to join the war. Until aliens knocked on the wrong door. HFY Best Sci-Fi Stories. The galaxy had been on fire for over a century. From the icy moons of Kelvar to the acid seas of Druxan Prime, from the glittering orbital cities of the Veilari to the hollowed asteroid fortresses of the Krogar Imperium, war had been the only language spoken. Species rose and fell in the churn of conquest. Alliances shifted like desert sand, and ancient empires crumbled beneath newer, more ruthless coalitions. And through it all, Earth stayed silent. It wasn't that humanity didn't know. Every transmission, every plea for alliance, every veiled threat reached them. Earth's diplomats listened. Earth's admirals nodded politely. And Earth's leaders declined. Again and again, they declined. No, humanity would not join the conglomerate. No, they had no interest in the Krogar Crusade. No, the Council of Nine's war with the Arcani hegemony was none of their concern. The galaxy called them cowards. Some called them wise. But mostly, they were called irrelevant. See, humanity had never made the kind of splash the other species had. They made their way to the stars late, settled a few systems, kept their technology to themselves. Efficient, self-contained, quiet. A species that refused to play galactic politics. Some joked that Earth was like a gated neighborhood in a burning city, untouched, isolated, and smug. But in a galaxy on fire, there's only so long you can ignore the smoke. The Kralek Armada didn't care for Earth's neutrality. The Kralek only understood strength. Seven-limbed insectoid brutes, bred for war, engineered for slaughter. Their hive queens saw Earth's refusal to join the fight as weakness. Worse, insult. The Kralek hated being ignored almost as much as they hated the Veilari, the Krogar, the Arcani, and everyone else. So they sent ships. It wasn't invasion. Not yet. Just a diplomatic reminder. A single battleship escorted by 3 cruisers, bristling with weapons, cutting through the cold void of Sol's outer edges like wolves prowling outside a village. They never made it past the Kuiper Belt. The details were murky. The Kralek transmission logs captured only fragments. Static, distorted images. One cruiser's hull cameras showed a shadow, impossibly large, detaching from the darkness between Pluto's orbit and the Oort cloud. Then silence. All 4 ships vanished. Not destroyed. Not even debris. Just gone. The galaxy noticed. Suddenly, Earth wasn't irrelevant. They were terrifying, but the Kralek were prideful. And stupid. They sent more. This time a full fleet. 37 warships. Planet crackers. Hive carriers. The kind of force that reduced colonies to slag and glass. They entered Sol's system with no stealth, no subtlety. A message was broadcast on all frequencies. Earth, you will kneel. They barely reached Mars. The footage leaked because, of course, someone made sure it did. The Kralek fleet drifting, lifeless. Hulls blackened and ruptured as if flayed open by forces that didn't obey physics. Some ships looked melted like wax near a flame. Others were frozen solid, crystalline tombs. No survivors. No black boxes. No escape pods. The only clue? A signal, repeating on ancient human military channels. A simple, haunting phrase in Cold English. Doors locked. You knocked anyway. Panic rippled through the galactic community. Species scrambled for answers. Earth? Earth said nothing. Their embassies went dark. Their ships stayed close to home. Their colonies, isolated but untouched, carried on. And the galaxy remembered something they dismissed. A relic of a time when humans first reached for the stars. The stories, the warnings. That Earth wasn't a peaceful garden world. Earth was a death world. It had always been a death world. Every species has their boogeyman. The Krogar whispered of death incarnate lurking beyond the rim. The Arcani priests warned their flocks of a hidden power that would awaken if provoked. The Veilari traders spoke in hushed tones of the old Terran silence, a refusal to speak not born of fear, but of quiet, patient confidence. Most dismissed it, until now. But the Kralek never learned. 6 months after their second fleet vanished, they sent ground troops. Smugglers, mercenaries, bounty hunters, hundreds of them. They slipped past Seoul's defenses using cloaked transports and drop pods, landing in remote regions of Earth. Deserts, mountains. The old cities long since abandoned when humanity migrated to orbital habitats and deep space platforms. They thought they were clever, until they entered the old cities, until they saw the signs. Scorch marks, impact craters, ruins not of time, but of war. And then they realized they weren't old cities. They were test sites, proving grounds. The mercenaries didn't last long. Some disappeared without a sound. Others were found later, huddled, wide-eyed, babbling nonsense. The few coherent words they managed to speak sent ripples through the galaxy. I never stopped fighting. They've been preparing this whole time. And then Earth made its move. It wasn't flashy. No grand declarations. No triumphant fleets crossing the stars. Instead, whispers, data leaks, weapon schematics appearing in rebel hands, supply chains quietly sabotaged, critical hyperlanes compromised. It started with the Archani hegemony. Their flagship, Pride of Dedran, imploded during a victory parade. Sabotage, traced back to anonymous human code buried deep in the ship's AI. Next came the Krogar Crusade. Their siege engines malfunctioned mid-battle. Entire legions lost as atmospheric seals failed, exposing soldiers to the vacuum. Then the Valari found their trade networks collapsing. Pirate activity surged. But these weren't ordinary pirates. Their ships were human. The message was clear. Earth had entered the war, on their terms, and the galaxy learned the final, terrible truth. Humanity had never been neutral. They had been watching, waiting, preparing, perfecting their weapons, their technology, their tactics, their operatives, and they had allies. Strange, silent, deadly allies that didn't appear on any known registry. Ghost ships, black-armored soldiers with no insignias, orbital stations that didn't show up on scans. And at the center of it all, the thing in the dark that devoured the first Kralek fleet. The Aegis Protocol. No one knew exactly what it was. Some called it an AI. Others, an ancient superweapon. The boldest whispered that it was a ship, the last relic of an old human war, hidden beyond Pluto, waiting for the day it was needed. And now it was needed. The Kralek Queen made her final mistake. She declared war. Not subtle, not hidden, an outright, public declaration of extermination. Earth would burn, or so she vowed. 3 Kralek hive fleets departed their homeworld. 120 ships, the largest force ever assembled. The galaxy held its breath. They never reached Seoul. Instead, Seoul came to them. The Kralek homeworld's defense grid detected nothing. No ships, no signals, just shadows, distortions. Then, cities vanished. Towers crumbled into dust. The ground split like glass underfoot. The sky turned black with swarms of drone ships, small, sleek, vicious. And overhead, it appeared. The Aegis. Massive, black, silent. No visible weapons. No energy signatures. Just presence. And with it came a final transmission. Human voices. Thousands layered together. Male, female, young, old. Cold. Unfeeling. Unified. You knocked. You insisted. You refused to listen. Now the door is open. In the following hours, the Kralek civilization ceased to exist. Not conquered. Not enslaved. Erased. The galaxy spiraled into chaos. Treaties were rewritten overnight. Enemies became desperate allies. Armadas were recalled. The remaining empires rushed to Earth's diplomats with offers. Please. Humanity declined. Again. But this time, no one called them cowards. Because the door was open now. The galaxy understood, far too late, that Earth had never refused the war out of fear. They refused because they weren't ready yet. Now they were ready. And as the stars watched with bated breath, one truth echoed across every system, every planet, every frightened empire. The galaxy had knocked, and humanity was finally answering.